Hello guys and welcome back. I want to share with you my reading list for December. So these are all the books that I want to read in the month of December. Potentially a little bit more than this, but I've upped the game from last month. This month I have 6 books on my list that I want to get read, and then any in addition to that is a bonus. So I'm just going to talk you through those. I'd love to know what's on your TBR list this month. So drop me a comment below, let me know what you're currently reading, and let's get into it. So the first book I want to read this month is Glint by Raven Kennedy. This is the second book in the Guild series. It is a new adult fantasy romance and it is a King Midas retelling. So the first book introduces us to the characters and our main character, Auron, and it basically gives us an insight into her life, like how she's living at the moment. She lives with King Midas. She has gold skin, because his whole castle is gold and he has turned her to gold, but she's not solid gold, she's just like gilded, and she's kept in a cage. This cage is like built around the castle, so it like goes into loads of separate parts of the castle, and that's how she lives. There's flashbacks throughout the story, kind of giving us an insight into her past and her character, and I'd say the whole first book is basically building up the characters in the book until like towards the end of the book, and the end of the first book kind of has a twist to it which I wasn't expecting, and so I'm really looking forward to reading the second book. I'm reading it on Kindle Unlimited, so I think you can get 3 months of Kindle Unlimited for 99p at the moment if you haven't had it before, so highly recommend that. There's plenty of good books on there to read if you like romance and fantasy romance. The next book I want to read is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. This is by Jennifer Armentrout. It is the follow-on from Blood and Ash. I listened to From Blood and Ash on audio, and I've bought the audiobook for this one from Audible, so I'm listening to that on my headphones. I've already started this one as well. I'm really enjoying it at the moment. The end of From Blood and Ash I found a little bit weird. Just a little bit. I'm not going to tell you what happens. You'll have to go and listen to it if you haven't already. But yeah, just the end of From Blood and Ash I just thought was a little weird. Like, just the way it ended. So yeah, I'm on to the second book now, and I'm interested to know where the story goes from here. The From Blood and Ash series is again paranormal romance. It has effectively what are vampires and other creatures that sound similar to werewolves. So if that's your thing, I would recommend this series. The next book on my TBR this month is the Legend series by Marie Lu. I've recently just signed up for Illumicrate and Fairy Loot, and Fairy Loot have just announced that they're doing a special edition set of these books. So ideally I'd like to read Legend, and if I enjoy it, I also have Champion and Prodigy. There is a 4th book apparently, which I didn't realise until Fairy Loot announced their editions. But the 4th book is set 10 years after the events covered in these books. I'm not sure if it's sci-fi or fantasy, it's not very clear on Goodreads, but it's basically we follow 2 characters, a female character called June and a male character called Day. June is training to be in the military and Day is a criminal. And one day June's brother is murdered and Day becomes the prime suspect. And I believe June wants to hunt him down and get revenge. So that is what this series is about. It's apparently a retelling of Les Mis. I'm not really sure where that comes into it or how it's a retelling of Les Mis, but I'm sure I will find out. If you've read these before, I'd love to hear what you thought of them. This is a YA series also, so a bit tamer than some of the other things I will be reading this month. The final book on my TBR list for December is War. This is the second book in the 4 Horsemen series by Laura Thalassa. They are fantasy romance. They each follow a different character, one of the 4 Horsemen. So these books have like post-apocalyptic vibes, they're dark, romance and paranormal, because obviously the 4 Horsemen. The first book was Pestilence, who basically came down to Earth and brought plague and disease to the world, and that's all I'm going to tell you. But basically, it's a romance featuring one of the 4 Horsemen, and the next one is War. So presumably he's going to pay a little visit to Earth, and we'll just have to see what happens with that. So that's all the books that I want to get read in December. Obviously, again, not putting too much pressure on myself, and if I can read more than that, that would be wonderful. I would love to know what you're reading. let me know in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.